Hello, everyone. My name is Abby Grimes, and today I'm going to be giving you a PechaKucha regarding opinions on the gay community, specifically looking at how and why opinions have changed across generations. But before I begin, I quickly want to acknowledge my amazing advisor, Dr. Sung, for all of her help and support along the way. With that being said, let's get started. This picture is from protests following the Stonewall riots of 1969. And at that time, 70% of Americans believed that gay people were more harmful than helpful to the American way of life, with only communists and atheists being considered more harmful to the American way. Shocking. Nevertheless, significant strides have been made towards giving the gay community adequate legal and societal representation in the 60 years since. Researching why these perceptions have changed across time is vital when we're attempting to understand the ways in which our society is becoming more accepting of marginalized groups. A big part of becoming more accepting is changing societal and generational views. Pew Research Center studies show that several patterns exist between generations and that younger generations are more accepting than past generations when it comes to the ways in which American society is changing because of sexual orientation, race, and ethnicity. Younger people are more accepting of the gay community because they have more exposure. As this graph shows you, if you look at the first arrow, 60% of the people in the silent generation don't know someone who is gay at all. But if you look at this bottom arrow, 60% of millennials do know someone who is gay. Think about exposure like this. Would it make sense for someone to say that they don't like roller coasters if they've never been to an amusement park? Well, of course not. You have to go to an amusement park, get on a roller coaster, and decide if you actually like it. In other words, you have to expose yourself. I kept this idea of exposure in mind when I was forming my hypothesis. As such, I hypothesized that as people developed increased close relationships with the gay community by having gay friends and family, they would be more likely to have more positive perceptions and more support of the gay community as a whole. To see how exposure to the gay community had increased, I studied the various age cohorts that you see on your screen. And since gay marriage has been a controversial topic for so long, I thought it would be really important to look at how each generation has changed their views about the gay community since the 1980s. I thought that was very important. And to do this, I looked at American National Election Series data. These election cycles questionnaires have been conducted since 1948. They've been asked every 4 years in an election year. It's considered a very reputable source by political scientists, and they randomly sample the population, to be fair. And I looked at their question regarding exposure to the gay community. So, having close relations with the gay community, having gay friends and family, to see how that influenced people's overall support levels towards the gay community, or having overall supportive, positive feelings towards the gay community. But a big problem that I ran into along the way, and that's why I only looked at the gay community, is because questions aren't being asked about the LGBTQ plus community in any nationally representative time series study data, which is a big problem, and that's why I can only look at the gay community when I did my research. But research about the gay community is limited in general. 1988 was the first year out of the 40 years that these studies have been done that people were asked about how they feel about the gay community in general. And 2012 was the first year that people were asked if they had gay friends or family and about their own sexual orientation. To give you some background information, interactions and exposure to gay people was surely lower in the 1980s than in 2016. As such, only 25% of the population said they support the gay community in the 1980s. That number nearly shot up to 60% supporting the gay community in 2016. I want to look at the silent generation to show you how big of a deal this is. The silent generation is full of traditionalists, people who value old-time morals. Only 27% of them said they support the gay community in 1984, but in 2016, those numbers nearly doubled and they shot up to 53% of them supporting the gay community. The most interesting jump I saw happened from 2012 to 2016, where each generation saw an increase in having gay friends and family from 2012 to 2016, as this chart shows you. Because more people felt comfortable coming out to their friends and family in 2016 than they did in 2012. This leads me to believe that more people had exposure to the gay community in 2016 than they did in 2012, because across generations, people's perceptions changed as they began to know people who were gay. As such, having gay friends and family is a strong indicator of support for the gay community overall. But this change from 2012 to 2016 can possibly be attributed to the Supreme Court decision in 2015 that legalized gay marriage. With equality under the law, people likely felt more comfortable expressing their sexual orientation, and that's something I could possibly look into in my further research. But to recap, support for the gay community and exposure to the gays has always been stronger in the younger generations, but it's increased dramatically in society as a whole since the 1980s. People are more supportive of the gay community if they have gay friends or family, and older people are starting to know more gay people, so gradually they're becoming more accepting of the gay community as well. Learning from history and recognizing our changing perceptions is so important. We need to recognize that progress is being made towards perceiving the gay community in a positive manner, and America is not as divided on the issue of gay equality as we once were. So with that, I want to say thank you. Here are my resources, and I am so excited to share my meta reflection with you. Thank you.